So today we're going to be working on 3 different types of skills that can help you improve your ball control. This will allow us to solve any problems that the game may present and allow us to properly execute every decision that we want to. So those 3 different types of exercises are going to be working on juggling, dribbling, and passing and receiving with our wall ball. And each one of these activities is going to be set up like a mini challenge, which allows you to test yourself, set a high score, and that way when you revisit it in the future, you've got a number to try and beat. That way we're always working to be a little bit better every training session and every opportunity. Let's get started. So the first skill we're going to work on today is the skill of juggling. This is going to help with our ball control out of the air. So whether you're controlling a ball off a punt, a goal kick, a corner kick, or just a long played pass, our juggling activities are going to help you control the ball, get it on the ground, and get playing in the way that you want. So our first juggling challenge today is called the switch. You're going to alternate feet with every single touch using the laces. And the great part about juggling is we can practice this with just a ball and a little bit of space is all we need. So in this first one, I'm going to introduce the beginner version, the intermediate version, and then the advanced version. So the beginner version of the switch starts with the ball in your hands. You're going to drop it and let it bounce to the ground. You're going to take a touch, let it bounce, take a touch, let it bounce, and you touch and bounce, and you're going to continue to see how many in a row you can get consecutively before the ball takes 2 bounces or you take a touch with the same foot 2 times in a row. For the intermediate, you can still start with the ball in your hands, and now this time you'll let it bounce, take 2 touches, let it drop, 2 touches, let it drop, and continue to see how many touches you can get consecutively, again, before the ball bounces twice, or you take 2 touches on the same foot. And for the advanced, the ball is going to start on the ground. You're going to continue to alternate touches with each foot, and you're going to keep the ball up in the air consecutively for as many touches as you can go. If the ball drops, you've done, you start back at 0 and attempt again. So there's your first challenge, the switch. Alternating feet with each touch, counting for as many consecutive as you can go. For the beginner and the intermediate until the ball drops twice, and for the advanced if the ball drops once. Make sure you track your progress so when you revisit this challenge in the future, you can aim to beat your previous score. With our next juggling challenge, we're going to work on changing levels with the ball. So we're going to start with 2 low touches, which means the touch and ball stays below our waist, and then we're going to go with 1 high touch, which means the ball goes above our shoulders. Every time you can complete a round of low touch, high touch, that's 1 point. You're going to see how many consecutive points you can accumulate. For beginners and intermediates, if the ball bounces twice or doesn't go to the appropriate level, and for the advanced, if the ball drops or doesn't go to the appropriate level. Let's see what this looks like. For the beginner, the ball will start in your hand, and you're going to allow there to be 1 bounce between each touch. So a low touch below the waist, low touch below the waist, high touch above the head, that's 1 point. So for the intermediate, you're going to allow the ball to bounce after the high pass. So ball can still start in your hands. You're going to let it drop down. You go low touch, high touch, let it drop, low touch, high drop, let it drop. And continue on that for as many consecutive rounds as you can get, keeping the ball close and under control. For the advanced version, we're not going to let the ball drop. You can start with it on the ground or in your hands, and you're going to go consecutively for as many low, high touches as you can get. Again, once the ball drops and hits the ground, no problem, just restart again and continue to try to beat your previous score. Oh, all right, so I got to 2. Try again. All right. Ball drops, you make a mistake, pick it up, and keep working. For our third challenge in our juggling series, it's going to be juggling on the move. So not only will you need a ball, but you also need 2 cones, markers, whatever you can put down. But those should be located about 5 big steps away from each other. Okay? The beginner, the objective is to take a touch with 1 bounce in between. Every time you get around 1 cone, that's 1 point. Okay? You're going to set the clock for 1 minute and see how many points you can score. For the intermediate, the ball's got to stay in the air, but you're allowed 1 bounce between each set of cones. And for the advanced, the ball should stay in the air the whole time. Let's take a look at each one, starting with the beginner. Start at a cone, and the ball can start with your hands. Once it drops, the clock goes for 1 minute. You can take a touch and let it bounce. Remember, every time that you get around a cone, it's 1 point. So that's 1. Almost to the second cone now. This would be 2. And we continue on just like that for our beginner. In the advanced version, the ball can start from your feet or your hands, and you're allowed to let the ball drop once between the set of cones. Remember, focus on using your laces, nice and controlled touches, and keep your eye on the ball. So for our intermediate, there's my first bounce. I've got to try and keep it in the air all the way between. Once I get around the cone, if it drops, oh, that's okay. I just pick it up and start again. So I've got 1 point. I can let it drop in between, get here. Oh, there's 2. Lets it drop again, that's okay. There's 3 points, and continue like that for 1 minute. The advanced version, ball should start on the ground, and once it drops, you've got to start back at another cone. Here we go. So that would be 1. Keeping our eye on the ball, soft controlled touches with the top of our feet. 2, see how many points we can get to. If it drops, just reset back and keep going. Remember, you've got 1 minute to get around as many cones as you can. Good luck. Next in our skill series is going to be dribbling. All right? And this incorporates a lot of different abilities. Number 1, the ability to use multiple surfaces of our feet to make the ball move and change directions in the way we want. It involves the ability to turn and escape pressure, or it involves the ability to dribble at a defender and beat them with a move. And these 3 different skill challenges are going to allow us to cover a little bit of each. Our first challenge is our gate challenge, and this is going to be focusing on ball mastery. There's a lot of different combinations that you can use to accomplish this challenge. I'm going to share with you 4 of my favorites, but I encourage you to get creative and use some of mine as well as create your own. So our first one is just going to be called the inside-outside. Right? We're going to use the outside of our foot, inside of our foot, outside of the foot, inside of the foot. We're going to use this to transfer the ball from one side of the gate to the other. So here's the challenge. Set the timer for 1 minute and see how many times you can go back and forth through the gate. So what that would look like on the inside-outside is that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue all the way until the timer stops at 0. See how many you can get. Outside of just using the inside and outside foot combination, I'll share with you 3 more of my favorites. The next one is the inside-inside roll. So starting in the middle of the gates again, you're going to take 2 touches with the inside of your foot, 1, 2, and roll it over. 1, 2, roll it over. Remember, every time I go through the gate, that's a point. As we get more comfortable, we can increase the speed. And if we get even more comfortable, we can pick our eyes up and look around, checking left and right. The third one of my favorite combinations here is called the touch-touch-pull. So in this situation, my body's staying between the gates, but the ball's now going to move from one side to the other. So it's going to start with an inside touch, and a pullback. Inside, inside, pull. Inside, inside, pull, in, pull. So every time the ball goes to a new side of the gate, that's a point. You can set the clock for 1 minute and try to set a high score here. And my final and favorite one, maybe the most complex of all the touches, is going to be an L with a pull and a pass. So I'm going to pull it behind my leg and push, making an L, pull it, pass it, right into the L again. Pull, pass, L, pull, pass, L, pull, pass, L. Every time the ball goes through the gate, that's a point. Set the clock for 1 minute. See how many times you can get the ball through the gate back and forth. Once you get really comfortable, hopefully you can start to pick your head up. So there's our first dribbling activity. Through the gate, you've got 4 of my favorite ball combinations to work with. I encourage you to create your own. Remember, set the clock for 1 minute, see how many you can get, record your score, so when you come back to this activity a week or 2 or 3 later, you've got somebody to compete against, you. Great, so in our next dribbling challenge, we're going to still set the timer for 1 minute, and every time that you move past a cone, it's going to be 1 point. Again, keep track of your points, see how many you can accumulate at the end of a minute. So in this segment, we're going to be working on our quarter turns. You may have also heard of these referred to as L turns or V turns. They're great for escaping pressure, switching the field, and getting your hips open to find a teammate on a great pass. I'm going to show you 3 or 4 of my favorite combinations, but again, I encourage you to be creative and use some of your favorites as well. So the first one that we're going to do is it's going to be the same foot V. So I'm going to start facing my hip to the middle of the gate here, pull back with my left foot, push with my left foot, pull back again with my left, push with my left, pull back with my right, push with my right, pull back with my right, push with my right. And I'm going to repeat that again. Every time I go through a side, that's going to equal 1 point. So let's see it. 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, 8 points. And you continue on just like that. One of my next favorites is still going to be using the same foot to pull and push, but now with a little bit different surface of our foot. So we'll start on this side again. I'm going to pull with my left, push with the outside of my left, pull with my left, push with the outside. Switch to the right, pull with the right, outside of the right, pull back, outside of the right, and reset. So if we're going to compete, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, right? Another point, another point, another point, another point. And we're going to continue this pattern, going in and out of the cones as quick and controlled as we can. One of my third favorites is now on that pull, we're going to switch feet. So it's going to start outside the cone. I'm going to pull back with my right, push with the inside of my left. Back with the right, inside left, and then switch feet. So again, ball starts outside. Well, that's 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, 8 points, 9 points. And continue going for that full minute. Set the highest score you can, take a rest, and try to beat it. I'll even give you one more, my last favorite, where we're going to pull with one, touch with the outside of the other. So I pull right, outside left. Pull left, outside right. Pull left, outside right. Going to continue in that pattern. These little quarter turns that can help us escape pressure, get our head up, and hopefully find a teammate for a great pass or through ball. So there you go. Make sure you've got a timer, 2 cones, the ball, and work on your quarter turns, or your coaches might refer to them as L turns or V turns. And again, those are my 4 favorites. Let's get creative. What can you do? Track your score, measure your progress, keep getting better. In our last dribbling challenge today, we're going to be working on our 1v1 moves to beat our defender when he's in front of us, and we're also going to be working on some close control and turns. Again, I'm going to demonstrate a few of my favorite 1v1 moves, but I encourage you to get creative, vary up the move in the middle, make sure we keep the ball close on the turns. Again, make sure you've got a timer, a ball, a couple cones or markers, and you're all set to go ahead and compete and get better at your dribbling and 1v1 moves today. The activity is going to start down on one end of the cones. You're going to take some small touches towards the middle cone, beat it with a little bit of fake or a move, touch to the side, dribble all the way around the top of the cone, and now come back, beat it with another move, dribbling around to the side again. Okay? Every time you complete a move in the middle, that's going to equal 1 point. you've got 1 minute to see how many moves you can make in the middle. Okay? So just in that first one, I used a lunge move, I used a scissors. A couple others that we can use as we're dribbling is a roll to push to get around. We may also use a nice little inside-outside move to get around. We could use a step-over move to get around and continue. We could use a Maradona move to get around and continue. The choice is up to you. We want you to be creative. We want you to find the moves that are best and most effective for you and get better at them with each and every rep. So again, 1 minute on the clock. How many moves can you make? Record your score, track your progress. When you revisit this challenge in a week or two, let's make sure that we challenge ourselves to be a little bit better than we were today. And the last skill in this set of challenges is going to be working on passing and receiving. We're going to need a ball, a wall, a pass back net, a bench, whatever you've got, a solid surface that lets the ball come back and rebound. And we're going to introduce 3 different challenges for you to implement on any day. Again, you're also going to need a timer. Each one of these, you set the timer for 1 minute and see how many repetitions you can get within that time frame. Let's get started. On the first exercise, we're going to start about 2 to 3 big steps away from the wall or net. Using one touch, we're going to alternate between using the inside of our right foot and inside of our left foot. Using good weight of the pass, striking through the middle of the ball, trying to keep it on the ground. Okay, you're going to set the clock for 1 minute and see how many you can get. Anytime you take 2 touches or you don't use the inside of the foot, that pass does not count. Let's see what it looks like at game speed. There you go. Continue for your full minute. Track, record your score. Next time you revisit the single foot alternating one touch challenge, make sure you're a rep or 2 better than you were today. Our next challenge in our wall ball series is going to be what we call the ladder. We're still going to continue to alternate feet and use the inside of our foot for passing. But in this round, you're going to add a touch every time. So I'm going to go 1 right, 1 left, 2 right, 2 left, 3 right, 3 left, and continue for as many as I can get in 1 minute. Make sure you count as many reps as you can get. See how far up the ladder you can get in that 1 minute. Track, record your score. That way when you revisit this exercise again in a couple days or a couple weeks, you've got a number to beat. Our last challenge in the wall ball series is going to be a mix of passing, turning, and change of direction. You're going to make 4 passes off the wall, a full turn, a change of direction, and back into it. Again, set the timer for 1 minute. Every time you're able to complete 4 passes in a turn, that equals a point. Let's see how many points we can get. So it's 1 pass, 2, 3, 4, open up, turn, change of direction move. On with the other foot, left foot, 2, 3, 4, open up, turn, change of direction move. Back in again, right foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn, change of direction move. Back in with the left. Continue for your full minute. Track, record your progress. That way when you revisit the activity in a couple days or a couple weeks, you've got a number and a score to beat. Go get better. Well, there you have it. 3 ball control activities: juggling, dribbling, and wall ball. Working on our ball control, our ability to beat players off the move, and our passing and receiving. All you need is a ball, a wall, a few cones, and a timer, and you've got everything you need to get better today at the skills of ball control. Get you ready for when you get back on the field. Remember, the creativity is yours. I showed you some of my favorite types of moves and skills to use, but I encourage you to create and come up and identify your own. And remember, every day you step out, can you do a little bit more with a little more quality than you did the day before? And that's how we're going to go ahead and get better every day. Have fun, challenge yourself. See you on the field soon.